You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
I'm here on another episode of Out of the Blank podcast with DJ Magellan.
What's up, man?
So, do you prefer DJ Magellan or Brandon Paul?
You know, most people around here don't know who Brandon is. So I just
know
go,
Brandon.
Yeah, you do know Brandon.
Facebook Brandon.
Yeah, you know Facebook Brandon. Facebook Brandon is different from Magellan Brandon.
So you have two different personalities in a type of way.
Not really. It's not, yeah, maybe.
People. My name's Robert, but I go by Robbie, and everyone knows me as Robbie. Mm-hmm. But I guess So you prefer Magellan?
I guess in this area, in like Ocean City, I go by Magellan. People know me by Magellan because DJing around town and radio.
Yeah, people know my dad as Skip. Even
exactly.
I know my dad as Skip. Like everyone at the family dinners calls him Skip.
I didn't know his real. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I called him Skip. I didn't even know that wasn't his name till like a year ago, maybe.
It's what he goes by. I mean, it's the only thing he responds to anymore. If you try and call him Robert, he just doesn't even look over at you. So, what do you do professionally? I would say I know you do the radio and everything like that, but tell me all your ins and outs.
I have a lot of different things I do. So I work my most important job. I work at Ocean 98 radio station at Secrets, obviously with your mother, and there I do production work. I manage the social media, make the videos, run the YouTube pages, pretty much every behind the scenes thing there is with the radio station. That's what I'm doing.
Anything that could possibly go wrong, you have to fix and kind of.
Yeah, they throw it on me.
So, and a good title would be like tech guy.
Tech guy, yeah, tech guy.
Like everybody comes to you when their computer breaks from too much porn or something on it.
Yeah, that's happened. I mean, Coach has got to stop watching the porn. But
come on, Coach, get on it or get off of it.
Yeah, and your mom too. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No,
good to know. Good to know. But it's cool because like dealing with radio, you know, and technology, you get to experience a whole variety of like just music in general. And a lot of people, like, we all listen to music, we all listen to different radio stations, but nobody knows the inner workings that actually goes behind the scenes of what needs to be set up. Like, all of you guys on the radio have stuff lined up. Sometimes you're not even in the studio when it sounds like you are, and the people don't know that. It could just be a recording, and you guys kind of have to play the scene in a way. Mm-hmm. And like if a problem goes wrong, I know the other day, I think it was on Sunday, I texted my mom and let her know that the radio station was having a misfunction or like something was not working properly because I had my volume on 30 and your channel was coming in very, very faint and it sounded like it wasn't playing. And later I find out like the next day that JJ had to come in and fix do something. You guys used a bunch of large words I don't truly understand. It probably was a lot more simple than it sounded, but it was interesting to hear that aspect of it. And you just literally came from work. You had a live performance that played, correct?
I did. We had the String Beans, local band String Beans. They're in there for our Live Licks program, which is when live bands come in and play. And I book the bands. It's another one of my titles, I guess, is the booking for Live Licks. So they come in, play an hour, do some interviews, and we have a good time in there.
Do you try and set up a certain band a lot of times, like try and get bands you enjoy more on Live Licks, just because you have the ability to kind of schedule that, or you just kind of have to play it by who's trending in the area?
It's really who's available, who's trending. If it fits our station, we'll bring them in. I mean, there's bands that, we book bands, I don't like all of them, but the people out there listening, some people do, some people don't. You can't please everybody.
Exactly.
But we can try.
You know, when it's especially when you're dealing with the public in this type of scenario and you own a business, like it's hard to kind of be on everybody. You know, you want to be everybody's kind of, I guess, what they're listening to. You want to be able to like, hey, yeah, I listen to that station all the time. And a lot of people don't give you that good criticism and don't give you that good view. Oh, this music sucks. There are some times I'm listening to 98.1. I do have to change the channel. Sure. Just because there's a certain type of music you guys are playing. I'm like, why are they playing this? Like, it's...
We play a little bit of everything, so it's, there's things that I don't like that we play, but other people like it, so... It's
hard to please all outlets.
100%.
And so that's not even all your jobs. You have to do not just that, but also you do DJing at night. Explain that whole scenario, because I mean, I know the DJ life is like, my dad was only home like 3 hours a day, and because he worked during radio during the day, and then he goes out at night and he doesn't come back until like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And like, Just explain to me that whole experience.
It's definitely an experience. I started doing that about 6 years ago, right after I started working the radio station. I started watching some of the other guys, and I know you've had Bakler on the show. I went around with him a little bit, and some other guys used to work at the station, and I was like, man, I just love it because music has been my life. I love music, no matter what it is, and to play it and watch people be happy and like their reaction when you play a song they like, it's like no other feeling. So I wanted to do that too, and I started kind of following these guys around and ended up buying my own equipment, and then just started doing my own thing. So I've been doing that. I do bingo 3 days a week around town. So my buddy does the calling of the numbers and whatnot. And I'm just DJing while we do bingo. So it's a little bit different than traditional bingo. And but yeah, and we do weddings. I DJ weddings, parties, bars, whatever, and it's a blast, man.
Do you have an all-time favorite memory of DJing at night?
Yeah, it's probably St. Patrick's Day at Secrets. It's wild.
Titties?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Beads. A lot of beads get
There's a lot
thrown
of
around.
beads.
Mardi Gras season.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours during the day. 11 o'clock, it's game over already. So
Yeah.
it's a good time.
You know, the craziest thing I see at Secrets is when the security guys at night, when they have to pull the people out of it, because it's right on the beach, it's right on the water, so when the people are drunk and they pass out, they got to make sure they're not head first in the water going to drown. They got to flip them on their side. That type of stuff's funny. You probably encounter so many drunk things just walking around Secrets at night.
I've seen a lot. I've definitely seen a lot.
Is there a certain experience that you or a memory you have that you wish you can kind of get rid of in a way, whether it's radio or dealing with DJing?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Like something personal experience, or
I guess personal or just something you've seen where you're like, holy shit, did that just happen?
I mean, the Secrets. I've seen some stuff that I probably should not have seen. Somebody, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about that because if people I work with here, I can't really speak about this right now. But I've seen a lot of stuff, and yeah, I gotta leave it at that right now.
You gotta kind of be set in the right mood in a way. I mean, I look at Secrets, you see this like beachy kind of restaurant, and a lot of people like see it as a restaurant. I don't even see it in that way anymore. I don't need to be like, when I go in, I don't need to be asked by security, who are you, who are you related to. I know that place so well just from being a little tiny kid running around where my dad used to bring me into work and knowing all the ins and outs of the upstairs and everything like that. And then you guys added passcodes recently. I'm not too happy about that because I can't just walk in that much anymore. But it's like, I'm so comfortable that security doesn't even, like, I don't look like just some random person walking off the street. It's like he obviously has a set thing of what he's supposed to be here or something. They don't even ask me. I just walk right in. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because now that I finally turned 21, I can actually go and see these concerts, live performances, like 9 Mile Roots, a bunch of local reggae bands, like my brother's band that plays. I can actually go out and experience it when the time comes. And that's something that, like, I've been constantly waiting. I remember one time I had my birthday party there. It was like Lower Class Citizens played, all this, old school type bands from, they're probably not around anymore. I don't know if they are, but like, it was cool to watch, and especially in the main room, like kind of feeling like, if the party's for you in a way. It's like when it's your birthday, don't treat it like your birthday week or birthday month like some people like to do, but it's like, that is your day, kind of experience it in a way. And another thing that I just found out about you recently is that you're into comedy.
Yes.
Now, do you do stand-up comedy? Is that what it is?
It's a improv comedy.
Because you kind of came in here wearing a Sam Kinison style, like, little blazer type jacket, which I like because, I'm a big, that's the one thing I wanted to do majorly before I really kind of found a passion with psychology. And one thing I do want to make clear, I don't think I made clear before we started the podcast, was this is a conversation. So, like, you're talking to me. So, like, if you want to ask me certain things, if I bring up something, if we go into something, we can dive into that. But when it comes to comedy, I can dive into that world so deeply. I mean, that affects my life more than radio has. And I've grew up around radio, just my parents both being influenced by DJing, helping my dad load up his gig equipment before the gig and then helping him sometimes afterwards, like, and with stand-up comedy, I was always too afraid to get up on stage because I was made fun of pretty bad for, being very energetic and talkative, and most people just found me annoying. So I ended up closing off my voice in a way. and then finding it later with podcasting. Sure. And then, what was your start of that? Do you just find humor like? My Netflix specials, I mean, my Netflix, not specials, but my Netflix watch history is like comedy special, cartoon, murder show, comedy special, murder show, like 48 hours, and then documentaries. Like, if someone looked at my Netflix history, they'd be like, seriously, what the fuck is this kid doing?
That pretty much matches mine too, man.
Yeah.
Comedy is, I've always been a comedy fan, man. The music and laughter has always been number one in my, growing up, my family's musicians, we all joke around all the time. It's just about being happy, and that it comes down to comedy and music that made us always happy. And,
that's like how my whole thing is too. Yeah. You know, my whole family's in music. I didn't really fall in that line. I like to listen to it, but it's like I see it as like their outlet comes more towards playing an instrument. My outlet comes more with words and being able to crack a fart joke when it's not really necessary, but it's got to be placed out there.
Yeah, dude. And I mean. Yeah, because comedy's always been a big part. I actually saw, you know Bert Kreischer. Obviously.
Yeah, I know Bert Kreischer.
So I saw him like last year, man.
You met him. Yeah. I saw that picture on Facebook. I was so jealous, dude. Because if you would have had an extra ticket, I would have went with you on that one, dude. Because he's friends with one of my all-time favorite comedians, Tom Segura.
Oh my goodness.
His whole podcast series is really what also inspired me. Besides Joe Rogan's Your Mom's House podcast.
Sure.
I love that, but I've seen all his specials multiple times. Even Ron White's special that's out on Netflix too.
Hilarious.
That's another good one too. You know, what are your influences on it?
You know what? And this comedy thing is actually brand new. And we've had 2 comedy shows. What it is it's remember the old show Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
So Ryan Stiles, Wayne Brady, Colin Mockery,
exactly.
all those guys. Yeah.
So basically, my role in that is the Drew Carey part, and we have 4 actors that we have different games. We use the audience for different suggestions, games, and whatnot. And I'm like the Drew Carey, throwing out points here and there, cracking jokes, and I fill in sometimes, do some different games with them. But it really came down to my, I wouldn't say business partner, I guess, who I do bingo with, and also this is Stevie J. He wanted to do comedy. He's always been a comedy guy. He does stand up. We said, let's do it. Let's find somewhere that would do this for us, and we did. And we've been doing it Mia Fratello's, and our inspiration is, he loves comedy from all comedians. My biggest comedian, I probably grew up. I was a huge Adam Sandler fan growing up.
Yeah.
I loved Adam Sandler, and then I definitely got a hold of Bert Kreischer. Actually, when we had him on the morning show at the radio station, I fell in love with him, man. He was sitting there doing his interview in his robe, like in his house, just chilling, and he was Facebook living it, so it's pretty cool.
Bert,
man, he's the man.
They call him Bert Kreischer.
Chrysler,
what Tom Segura calls him.
Yeah,
and that's cool because I don't know if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast at all, but they actually inspired a bunch of people to lose a bunch of weight. Because they did a who's fat, like who's they had a fat weight loss competition, you guess we would say, but it inspired a big thing on the podcast, and then they just did Sober October because Bert's known as a boozer. That's his thing. He's the party guy. You know that movie Van Wilder was actually inspired by Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, I remember he won like Party Animal of the Year at Florida State or something.
But that story, Van Wilder with Ryan Reynolds, is based on his life, and it's funny because he wanted to do a podcast with Ryan Reynolds where they got high or drank and watched the movie, and Ryan Reynolds doesn't even know who Bert is. He just got the role, so it's like you don't even know the guy that inspired the movie, basically, in a way. And he's most famous, Bert, for his The Machine story,
of course.
And it's a lot where I kind of realized, like, I learned through Tom Segura of Bert, and then I learned about Bill Burr, and then I'm learning about all these other comedians that are on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it's like hearing they're all like different stories and being able to like joke around. There's just a different vibe you get when you're having fun and just joking around with a guy that's talking about comedians. Whether the show, if you ever seen Your Mom's House podcast, they're talking about farts and shits, and it's a conversation between him and Tom Segura and his wife, Christina Vizitsky. So it's like that's amazing because they have a type of relationship, and where it's like they can joke around and laugh and do all that stuff. And it brings up the question too that I wanted to ask you. Do you do you go around letting people know that you do stand up, or do you do improv comedy in a way?
We sell tickets, so it's a ticketed show, and we've sold out both shows so far, so it's been pretty sweet.
I bet there's the one answer or one question you always get, and you probably hate it by now too, because like if you ever say you're a funny guy or something, someone's like, "Tell me a joke," and you're like, "Well, it doesn't fucking work like that."
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't work like that.
it comes in the moment. Like you'll say something funny or something like that, and that's a lot what comedians deal with. Like, you go around saying you're a stand-up comic or comedian. Oh, tell me a funny joke. It's like, ah, shit. Like, I'm not a freaking coin machine or something. You don't put something in me and get something out.
You give me some money. I might come up with a joke though. If you wanna give me some money, I'll come up with a joke. If you walk up to me.
Yeah, shit. I mean, if I'm getting paid, yeah. But it's crazy to think. Like, have you worked on crafting your own in a way? Like any jokes in general that you might think that you've been writing a little bit? Do you feel like you just want to stick with improv where it's kind of on the spot? Because a lot what influenced me, like when I did my speech class, every single speech I had was all improv. We had 5 to 10 minute speeches where you had to basically have if it wasn't a memorized speech, but if it was like a sales pitch or something. I mean, I was pulling shit out of my ass where I was like, like, bam, I talked 10 minutes about Hot Pockets. And like eventually in the thing, I'm like, you can do anything with a Hot Pocket. There's 50 flavors of Hot Pockets. Just going hardcore on it, and it's like improv somewhere I can reach out. I feel like if I get put in a corner, which I never like to be in, but I feel like once I get in there, I can vibe the most. Once I can get the audience to kind of connect with you got to really just break the tension first of all. I mean, Drew Carey, yeah, he had a good influence on Whose Line Is It Anyway, but when it's those actors and they randomly getting things like scenes from a hat, where they're just pulling random scenes out of a hat and they got to improv it, a lot of that stuff's like, I'm watching them, like it feels like it would be planned out, but it's not. It's like it's all improv. And it's like, if you ever watch the bloopers, I think is the best part of Whose Line Is It Anyway. I mean, listening to them like where they're doing the Irish drinking song,
I love it.
And like,
I love it.
They randomly throw a cuss word in there and they have to stop in the middle of filming and like, and it's fun because you're keeping the audience attracted to what you're playing in a way. Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's a show where the show's made up and the points don't matter, like that type of thing.
That's exactly what we do, pretty much.
And that's cool. I have to come out one night and to witness that in general, because I mean, is that something you want to chase down further down the road? I know I don't know if I've asked that already, but it's like, as a passion, would you prefer to be a stand-up comic rather than work radio, or do you feel like you're setting your goals for the rest of your life?
I don't even see myself as a comedian. When it comes to that part, I really am just like the Drew Carey, throwing in, random points here and there. I do get in the middle of it and crack jokes, just here and there. But my part of it, I'm playing the music, so we, have like intermissions and stuff like that. If somebody makes a joke that has something I can relate to a song, I'm quick with that. I'll find something. Somebody makes a joke about, I don't know, cherry pie, I'll play cherry pie right away, or something dumb like that. And I have like the buzzer sounds, and kind of like the tech guy again, sort of like the background sort of guy. But my passion, I love comedy. I've always been in my head a comedian. I never really went out and did anything, so it's a big step for me just to do this, even though I'm not the one really acting for the most part.
Yeah.
But to be out there and watch them do it, it's really got me more into it. But for me, it's still the music. That's my passion has always been the music.
You feel like you're more set of the lines of a host?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, host.
Not really the guy that's the cameras are all on, but like the more like the guy that sets everything up and gets a line in there every now and again. Right.
It's the same way with like I've had bands want me to be there. Like their booking manager, their manager for a band, because like the behind the scenes stuff again. I like. Sure, the limelight's great, having the lights flash on you and your name up in the lights is cool, but to be the guy behind the band or behind the comedian, making this happen for them, it's good feeling for both of you.
I don't know if you're a video game guy.
I am.
If you ever played the game Brutal Legend with Jack Black's inspired game.
Right.
The roadie, he talks about the roadie, the guy waiting in the wings, the guy that's the main, like the dude in the shadows that no one sees, that doesn't get any credit. He's a nameless voice. It also inspired a song, The Roadie by Tenacious D, one of my all-time favorite bands. And it's like, you look at that and it's like, yeah, the singer, the guitar player, the drummer, all those people, they're very important and, they make the music go. But who makes the show go? Who makes their music able for your ears to hear, because they can sit up there and strum and you'll be in the back of 1,000 something audience and you can't hear anything. But nobody really pays attention to the guy waiting in the wings, the hidden, the puppet master in a way.
Sure.
He's controlling the puppets on stage. And not to say that musicians are puppets, but to get their stuff to run, they have to have somebody like that who carries the amps, who carries all the, the tech equipment, who gets everything set up so the show can run properly and run smoothly. And that's a lot of things. If you hear bands and comedians, they all give credit to in interviews and documentaries and stuff. Like, you don't understand how we take care of our crew and everything like that. Like the lights guy,
Yep.
those are all making the show run, the beautiful things that you see, not just like the music that you're hearing, but also like the whole show in general. And I give you credit on that, because it's not easy. If a problem goes wrong, you got to be quick to solve it. You can't just, if there's dead air or something, you got to be right on that, trying to fix it as fast as possible and as soon as possible. It's basically, the responsibility relies on you if something backfires.
Yeah, it's the same thing, and we talked about this a little bit. I've been helping run Jellyfish Festival coming to Ocean City.
Explain this to me, because I'm completely oblivious. Apparently my brother's band's playing in it,
Yeah,
the
by the
Road
way.
Citizens.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it is, and I guess the Swell Fellows are playing it too, and I had them on my podcast, which was interesting.
I love those guys, man. Connor was my intern back in the day, a couple years ago, and he kept saying, I want to start a band, because then it was him and his brother, Chris, and I said, dude, you got to just do it. And they started.
You gotta go for it.
And now they're killing it, man. They're killing it.
That's the same thing with this podcast. My podcast isn't killing it.
It's killing it.
It's dead in the water. It's like Jaws. I'm waiting for that shark to come in.
It's coming, man.
Eat me up. No, but it's like, it was a thought, and it was like, I was listening to Joe Rogan so much and all these podcasts, like Bert's podcast, the Bert Christ or whatever. Bertcast is what he calls it. And then Joey Diaz, like What's Happening, Church of What's Happening Now. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
He doses Lee with these 100 milligram edibles, and there's a video on YouTube of the cutscene. It's Lee, you can tell him they're listening to music, and he's just sitting there, and then you can tell he's way too high. He goes, fuck, he just takes the headphones off, and he's like trying not to pass out, and it's called Joey Doses Lee. Like, those types of stuff. Eventually I want to have visuals down the road, but it's like, I was explaining to Connor, like in the podcast we had, Chris was more of the voice with the Swell Fellows in that whole interview. Just because I know Chris, Chris probably very comfortable around me just because we went to high school together. And with Connor, I was like, it's hard to interview 3 people at once, especially.
Oh yeah.
Especially that was my first time ever doing that, and it was like, I wanted to hear from everybody, but I also messaged them and let them know, like, hey, I want to interview you guys individually as well. So I can get your own experience too, because just because the name of the podcast is going to be your name, it doesn't make it all about you. There's things we're going to talk about. There's things I want to be able to come down to. If we want to shoot the shit about aliens, I don't know if you're interested in that whole subject, but like, if you want to shoot the shit about whatever the thing comes down to, my main thing is I think of it as like a form, not of therapy, but it's a conversation. We're having fun. It's me hanging out with you in a way. It's be the same thing as if like you don't have to talk like somebody's recording us. I want us to be able to get into the conversations. The main reason why I shut off my phone, and I think the only time I've ever really used my phone is if I have to look something up, if I'm completely uneducated on it. Like my buddy who was a vegan who was on my podcast. I don't know shit about veganism.
Yeah.
I mean plants, beans, like what do you eat? I'm naming all this stuff. Apparently you can't have a certain type of chocolate because it has something in it, like milk or something in it, and it's like you can only have like dark chocolate, and then there's the peanut butter. He can't have peanut butter. He has to have a powdered peanut butter. I'm like, I
have a funny story about that while we're on that subject. I found out that vegans can't have whipped cream, but they can have chocolate syrup, and I found that out at a strip club.
What?
Yeah, no lie.
Was the stripper vegan?
Yeah, she was a vegan.
What?
Yeah.
What was she doing with the chocolate syrup?
Well, if they were playing with it.
Cherry pie.
The cherry pie. And there was some whipped cream, and she said, I can't have any of that. I said, what do you mean can't have any of that? She said, I'm vegan. I can have chocolate syrup. So, all right.
Shit. I learned that the one thing I have an addiction for is gelatin. I learned they can't have gelatin either. You know why that is?
Pig fat.
No.
What is it?
Grounded up animal bones is in Jello.
Right.
That is ridiculous.
Same with the gummy bears, gelatin. Yeah, same.
Well,
thing.
the problem was I was like, why do I sometimes have a craving for animal bones if I don't have gelatin? Like, you know, like a nice chicken bone or something. If you accidentally bite that, I was like, that's weird that I'm craving that. And a lot of people are like, it's the same thing if you drink a lot of bone broth, apparently. In some cultures, people eat animal bones. Like, that's a thing. They ground it up or they chew it. Like, just like if you're eating a drumstick, you just eat the bone. And I'm like, isn't that bad? They're like, no, as long as you break it up and it doesn't get stuck in your throat, you're fine. But you actually provide essential nutrients and calcium out of the thing. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of the reason why I eat a lot of produce and a lot of like fruit and stuff. And I freeze it though.
Right.
So when I freeze it, I leave the skin on the thing. Like I'll eat the skin of orange peels and stuff like that. That's not that uncommon. But I eat the skin of pineapple. When it's frozen, it's not sharp. It doesn't hurt you, and you don't taste the skin of it. It's the same thing if you eat a frozen banana. If you eat the skin of the banana, you're getting essential vitamins and nutrients out of those that you're missing from not just the fruit in general, which a lot of people don't know about. So it's like it's pretty common, like in a bodybuilding type person, like a person that doesn't have a lot of money to afford a lot of items, and they're trying to get the essential nutrients out of everything, like squeeze every last drop. It's like the same thing when you're using the toothpaste and you roll it up all the way just to get the very last little bit of toothpaste out. Mm-hmm. Like and it's hard because you people look at you like, holy shit, you're eating the orange peel, you're eating the banana peel. It's like you're missing essential nutrients in it. Sometimes, like a lot of times when you freeze stuff, the inside actual fruit where the main essential part of the nutrients are gets very, very vibrant and gets very, very tasteful when it's frozen. It's the same thing like when people are trying to lose weight and they're like, I can't stay away from sweets. I always got a sweet tooth or something like that. Grab some grapes and freeze them.
Oh yeah, they're delicious.
That will kill your sweet craving. It's because the sugar in grapes is pretty pure. And it's healthy sugar, though. It's not that bad sugar. But if you eat a nice frozen grape, man, first of all, it slows your eating down. So you're not... Geez, I can eat a whole bag of regular grapes in a sitting and not feel full. But if you're eating frozen grapes, you got to kind of force it one at a time. Or, you kind of suck on it a little bit like you're sucking on a Jolly Rancher or something. And it's like... It slows... these essential things that are good to... since I'm in the... workout, fitness life. It's like I know all these little hidden subtle aspects of it. It's the same thing like when you're dealing with, veganism. I just didn't understand. Like when I pulled out my phone to look up these facts, I was just looking up like what can you eat? Like you got to be a pain in the ass to take to a restaurant. And he goes, yeah, I don't really go out to eat, mostly because I eat clean, which I do too. I don't really go out to eat, but. Shit, dude, you can't have anything that's on the menu, and if, you gotta worry about someone poisoning that, basically, in a way. Like, did you cook this with a certain... Yeah, I did. Okay, well, I can't have it now. You just ruined my meal, and now I gotta pay money out of pocket for something that... they prefer to prep on their own because they know what they put in their own food.
Yeah, I've seen people in line at Subway. Can you change your gloves because you just touched that meat? I was like, whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that sucks, too. You can't go out anywhere, man. Imagine taking a road trip and trying to find vegan restaurants.
No, I know. Well, so I'm on the keto diet. Or I call it diet. It's not really diet. It's a lifestyle. And
bullshit. No, I'm kidding.
And I've been on that. I've lost 75 pounds on that thing, man. And
it works for some people. I do believe it's the same thing. I don't like a lot of the foods that are, I don't understand the whole ketosis thing 100% because I don't mostly believe in it. Mm-hmm. I believe if you change, like you consume a certain amount of calories and you burn more, you're going to lose weight. There's going to be several things you got to cut out of your diet. I helped one of my buddies lose 55 pounds. He's someone that I eventually want to have on the podcast. He's an Italian guy. Mm-hmm. So my mind immediately came to how much spaghetti, how much pasta, how much all that stuff do you consume on a daily basis? Oh, around every meal, I eat a lot of bread and I just told him, cut it out. I was like, just cut it out and start doing treadmill work and you'll lose weight. He went from 230-something pounds down to what he's at now, like 185. Right. And, he was like, thank you so much. And he feels good now. He takes pictures of himself, selfies. Too many damn selfies. Yeah. I don't take selfies at all. And I'm freaking, six-pack and all that stuff. But it's like, I'm happy for him in a way because it's like, there's certain things that are going to work for some people. Some people work off a primal diet. I can't do the primal one either. Mostly because you have to consume nothing but fats. There's no carbs. I love cereal. When it comes to Reese's Puffs, anything that's sugary. I went to the dollar store, dropped $10, bought 10 life-size boxes of Honey Nut Cheerios. There's the regular, the maple kind. Then they have the pumpkin spice, and then they have like Captain Crunch full size family boxes. Hell, I'll go to Ollie's in Salisbury, and they always have like dollar cereals, so family size Lucky Charms and shit. Hell yeah, I'll drop $20 on that shit.
Yeah. Do I miss it? Yeah. But you know, I try and do my best to keep off that sugars, but it's you know, everything works differently for everybody. So
I mean, some people like avocados. I think those are just naturally disgusting.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, they are all.
That's all my mom eats is avocados.
know,
When you go to the store, can you buy me avocados? I'm like, why do you eat that shit? And first of all, it's only valid for like a minute out of the day. It's like if you don't consume it in that minute, you missed your window. You're done. Like it's gonna taste like complete dog crap.
No avocados.
I would be happier with a banana someone mashed with their foot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would.
And I'm allergic to bananas. And I'd
You're
still
allergic
eat
to
it.
bananas?
I get sick.
Dude, thank God I didn't have any before you came over. I was thinking about either having a banana or an apple. I went with an apple.
I just can't eat them. I just get sick when I eat them.
Is it just that?
It's like a weird potassium that bananas and avocados have that I just can't handle.
Now, is that you're not allergic to them? You just don't like them?
No, it's like an intolerance.
That's the same thing for me in Fireball. Anything cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I killed one of those giant ass bottles of Fireball. I killed it all by myself in one sitting, in like a matter of like 3 hours. And I didn't understand like what alcohol was. This was back in my high school days.
Sure.
And so I'm sitting there watching Netflix, and I'm just sipping it the whole time. And slowly, it all hit me at once. Like I'm the bottle down. Like my buddy was getting Snapchats of my face getting drunker and drunker throughout like the hours I was
Fireball
drinking it.
does it.
And dude, I freaking knocked myself out while taking a piss. We had a shelf behind where not the toilet, but like behind where if you're pissing forward like guys do, there's a shelf if you back up enough you're gonna hit it. And apparently I was backing up the whole time. I think I came to this conclusion and I knocked myself out. And I woke up on the floor, like my mom screaming at me like, "What's wrong with you?" or something like that. And then I'm like, "What?" And I just went up to bed and laid down. Like I was like, whatever. Like I'm freaking out. I'll deal with this in the morning. And then the next day I went to the gym, and that's what mainly steered me off alcohol, because that whole 2 days afterwards where I was running on the treadmill, I was sweating nothing but cinnamon. And my skin felt like slick. I felt heavy in the stomach. I felt terrible. And like, I don't eat fried food, so there's no hangover cure for that. You gotta kind of eat an apple or eat whatever healthy option I eat and then deal with it. And it was like, it steered me off alcohol, but now whenever I smell cinnamon or someone's cooking French toast, I physically get ill to my stomach to the point where I'm like, I'm going to vomit. And it's difficult. Like, that's gotta suck though, because when you're dealing with like potassium and like bananas and avocados, you've got to stay away from a lot of the produce stuff in the supermarket. Does that make you sick, or is it just if you eat it?
It's only if I eat it. Only if I eat it.
Okay, that's a lot better. Like if I smell cinnamon, it's over. Like I won't go to a fucking Denny's. I don't want to go to a Denny's anyway. Theo Vaughn's got the best joke where you sit down at the table, and the tables are always so damn sticky. They wipe it down with like more syrup. He goes, you end up coming for breakfast and staying for dinner because you can't get up off the table.
That's the damn truth, man. It's always sticky.
And it's, he brings up a good point too. Why do the waitresses look like a fucking cat? They have whiskers, basically. Like, we've all witnessed it's the same thing I talk about with society, where we're all kind of putting on masks. There are some women that put on, not just women, there's probably guys out there that might do it too, but it's like, that put on so much makeup on their face where it looks like you could just peel it right off like a freaking Halloween mask.
Cake face, man. I'm not down with that.
I think the one time I really remember it is when I went to Boomers when it was in Berlin, that burger joint.
Boomers.
I don't know if you were around. Were you around for that?
Nah, I was probably overseas. I don't remember.
Overseas doing what?
I used to live overseas.
What?
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm glad that came up. Let's go down to this real quick.
I was trying to figure out a way to slide it in there. But yeah, man. I grew up overseas. I was born outside Baltimore, and I left when I was 7 years old. And I lived in Germany for 5 years. Then I moved to Thailand. I was in Thailand for 3 years.
Wait. Where were you born?
I was born right outside Baltimore. Oh, I was in Carroll County, Maryland.
And how the hell did you get to Germany?
On an airplane.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I mean, like, how was that? How do you go from Baltimore to Germany?
My dad worked for the State Department.
Okay.
So he took us. He wasn't military, but it was State Department. Took us over there. He works in the embassies overseas. So, we were first stationed in Germany. I was 7 years old, and then we were there for 5 years. We lived in Frankfurt. Then we flew out to Thailand. That was his second station. We lived there for 3 years.
Did you go to any of the temples in Thailand?
Yes.
Did you see how beautiful they were?
Dude, I could have a whole podcast on Thailand. It's my favorite place in the world.
You don't understand. That's the one place I dream of going. I want to go. I said if I had, like, if I didn't have, like, the drive to work out every single day or do something like that, I would go live with the Buddhist monks or do something up in China, because those Chinese movies, like, we all get pumped up when we're watching Bruce Lee fucking drop kick somebody through a wall. Like, that shit gets me going.
Absolutely.
But, like, the fact, I don't know if you ever saw this movie, it came out, it was a lot of people gave it shit. It was the same thing with people giving shit about the Green Lantern, which I fucking thought it was a great movie.
It was great.
But the original Green Lantern is black, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. Justice League, I grew up on that freaking show, cartoon. Right. It was a black superhero. Ryan Reynolds did a good job, but he's better as Deadpool.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to, it was the movie called The Last Kingdom with Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and it was like a white kid went to a store, saw staff, and then the staff pushed him off the roof, and he went into like a whole other world or whatever, where it was like, that was the movie I drank that fireball through. And so like that really resonates with me. But I remember seeing that movie in theaters. I remember watching like The Karate Kid, being inspired by, not the Jaden Smith one, which was complete.
I love that one.
What?
Oh man.
You're nuts, dude.
Justin Bieber theme song, get out of here, bro. It's the best. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, I hope you're...
I'm just kidding. I like Jackie Chan, though.
Jackie Chan's a good guy. Jackie! His TV show, his animation show was amazing.
Yeah, it was
that was the shit.
Uncle something.
Uncle
Chan? Or Jackie?
I thought it was just called Jackie Chan.
Chin?
The Adventures
Kim?
of Kim Jong-il?
Kim Jong-il, yeah. Something like that.
The Interview?
Yeah, the Interview. It's terrible. I loved it.
But going back to the temple things, that was always like my dream. I mean, I would hate to climb those freaking steps, Since you're a comedian fan, I'm going to keep bringing up comedians, because a lot of people, when I talk about comedy or famous comedians, they don't know shit. Ari Shaffir has a funny joke about going to the temples of Thailand, because he goes and does that travel thing. It's where when they did the weight loss competition, if Bert and Tom would have both lost and not gotten under obese or something, they would Ari wouldn't have had to pay for a trip. But since they both got under obese, they Ari had to pay for a trip. That was the bet. That was the plan. Right. That was everything that was scheduled out. A bunch of people were calling Ari a welcher because he lost, like, he went to Thailand or whatever. So he didn't bring his phone. He disconnected. Like, did all that stuff. And he was talking about how he climbed all the way up these freaking stairs. Basically, it took forever. And there was a guy up there selling waters. And he's like, it's $5 a water. He goes, no, bullshit, I give you $1, it's $1. He goes, no, I carried it up the fucking mountain on my cart. You're going to pay me $5 for this fucking water. He goes, all right, dude, I'm paying you $5 for this fucking water. Like, that's insane. Now, how old were you when you went up these stairs and visited these temples?
I do remember we did go to one temple that were up the stairs, really high stairs. I was probably 15 or 16. And
the whole way you're probably thinking, where's the escalator for this shit?
Where's the escalator? That's right, dude. It was, but it's very famous. It's been a while since I was there, but the sights just make up for it. It's so beautiful.
Was it the inside of the temple or how preserved it was that was beautiful, or was it just the view that you really saw when you got up there?
The view, the culture of the people, just everybody's just seeing everybody's face, like, oh my goodness, this place is amazing. A lot of the temples we went to were just flat. I mean, they were just on the ground. You don't have to go up any staircases. And they had the Leaning Buddha, which is a huge, very famous statue in Thailand. It's a huge gold, it's pure gold Buddha laying down on its side. It's humongous. I don't know the size or anything of it, but it's humongous. And it's just out of this world to see this stuff.
You want to know a fun fact about Thailand?
What is it?
That's where sushi was developed.
What?
Sushi was created in Thailand.
I did not know that, actually.
And then it was brought to Japan.
I did not know that.
I had my buddy on my podcast. His name's Alan. He's a sushi chef. And I was asking him all these questions because I looked up the research on... main thing is stigma when it comes to... if I'm a white guy dressed up in monk robes, you're going to be like, this guy's fucking nuts. What's wrong with this guy? He's a poser. But you look at an old Chinese man in a robe like that, you're like, that man's obviously a Buddhist monk in a temple. What's to stop that guy from being a poser and then me being the legit kid? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. You know, when you say you want to go out and have Mexican food, what do you think of? You want your food cooked by Mexicans. You know, you want your food cooked by that ethnicity that makes it. Well, you know, when you go to a Japanese place and you're like, I want sushi, that's what we're gonna have. You know, okay, well, you're in the wrong place because you got to go to fucking Thailand where it originates. It was just brought to Japan. It's the same thing when you think of, I want some good old curry or something. You're gonna think of an Indian person.
For sure.
Like, I've had authentic curry before. Shit's not impressive. It's not.
I mean, I like it.
There's it sucks because like the job I really wanted as a kid was actually to be a sushi chef in a way.
Yeah.
Because I was always fascinated with the Tokyo Steakhouse or something like that. Like you know, some Americanized place, but it was like the chopping and the spinning of the knives, the shojin, that type stuff. That always really fascinates me. Like ancient history when it comes to China and when it comes to ancient Greece in a way, because I'm always fascinated with the Greek gods, basically myths in a way. But like the stories and legends you hear where it's like some people live their lives around that, and like I always had a fascination with viewing temples and living in a temple, mostly from just karate in general, being influenced by that and seeing it as like the animal styles, like mantis, tiger, you know, monkey, those types of things always like inspired me in a way because it was more like superhero type.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you went to these temples, not just having these temples, but have you had a transcendental moment in your life? I don't know if you've listened to me say it in my podcast before, but transcendental moment being like an epiphany, not really where you have a sudden realization that God is everything and God is life, but like a moment where you're like, life is awesome. Like, this is what life's about. This is the beauty. This is why someone climbs Mount Everest to go and look over at this view. You know? Have you ever had a moment like that?
Yeah.
You can have it multiple times in your life.
The one thing that sticked out the most to me right away is it's kind of deep. I lived in Thailand. Obviously, we discussed that. You remember the big tsunami? I don't know if you remember. It happened on Christmas Day 2000. I can't remember.
I do remember.
But so it's like 2003, I want to say, somewhere around there. Anyway, my family and I, we were going to go down to this island called Krabi, or not island. It's right on the beach in Thailand, and
it's called Krabi.
Krabi, yeah.
Oh, it's like my name. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember it. It's the same thing with the Egyptian king Hammurabi.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't remember if it's like a small little island right off the beach or it's right against the beach. Either way, we were gonna go there Christmas Day, and the night before we decided let's just stay home for Christmas. You know, we'll hang out the house. Well, the next day a tsunami hit,
And that island was gone.
and it wiped out everything and everybody in that town. And
Fuck! The whole town?
I can't say every single person was lost in that town, but that it was gone. Like, it was wiped out.
Jesus.
So, yeah, that really, really hit us. I mean,
That was a moment you were probably thankful. You were probably on your knees like, thank God we didn't go to freaking that island.
every time I got chills thinking about it now because it's just insane. And then all the families that were there, like there was Americans that, you know, vacation in that area, just all throughout Thailand where the tsunami had hit. They were flying back into Bangkok, you know, because I was a couple hours away from the beach. You know, nobody got injured in Bangkok. They were flying there, but half of them lost everything they had, from passports to whatever. You don't have to have a passport to fly, you know, to another city. So they get there, and then my parents, they worked at the embassy, so they were helping all these Americans, like, trying to get a hold of their families back home, and it's crazy. And I think that was like...
That was a moment
Boom.
you're probably thankful.
That and 9/11. I was living overseas. September 11th, living overseas on an American base was insane. Because I was a little kid, and...
Did you feel like you were going to be targeted next?
100%. We had no idea. Because we lived right outside Frankfurt. It was an Air Force base. Like the biggest Air Force base in Europe, I want to say. I think it was. We had to pack enough stuff for like 8 days or 9 days, 10 days. When the planes hit the towers, we had to take pictures of everything we had, pack up enough stuff for like, I think it was a week or 10 days, because we got one call. We had to go on a bus shuttle to Amsterdam in an underground tunnel.
Because you couldn't fly anywhere either.
Because we were targeted. I mean, we weren't targeted, but we were a target.
Yeah.
So going through that as a 9-year-old, dude, it was nuts.
It's crazy when stuff like that happens, but it's beautiful in a way, and the way I say it's beautiful is how we all come together. Yep. That's when it doesn't matter really what color of your skin was. Obviously with the 9/11 thing, there was a certain ethnicity that everyone was more worried about. Mm-hmm. But, we're still worried about today with TSA and, mm-hmm. But it's like, we all came together and we all, like, you saw people that wouldn't normally do something if someone was crying on the street and approach them. It's the same thing. I always bring it back to this Kyle Himes' story. I don't know if you know who he is, the guy that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and mm-hmm. lived. He talked about being on a bus and crying, and so if someone would just ask him if he was okay, then he would be, it might have stopped him from jumping off the bridge. Right. Nobody takes the time and effort to do that. We walk around on autopilot just mm-hmm. worried about ourselves. I'm not saying it's our responsibility to worry about others, but, it's nice to see that if something happens of a dramatic sort where, the world goes into shock and, that type of situation, that we're all, there are people that you wouldn't think would stand up to help somebody that would. A lot of people, the firefighters, all those people that either risk their lives trying to help other people get out and try and save their life. I mean, it's crazy to think with 9/11 there were people jumping off the buildings because they rather plummet to their death than burn, Right. And you see videos of all these people, that you get to see the images and like the actual video of a plane hitting the towers, like all that stuff that comes out you see on Facebook, whether it's, a lot of people say, conspiracy theory, it's, it wasn't a plane, it was, a bomb that went off. It's like, there's evidence of it. There's also people that it brings my mind to the ridiculous notion of how everyone wants to either seek out attention or believe in something that's not true. Like I want to believe Bigfoot's real, but there's no evidence that he is. Mm-hmm. As much as I want to go and I'm a lot like how Bill Burr says, or if someone's agreeing with something, I try and prove the opposite point just to be kind of a dick in a way.
Right. Devil's advocate.
Yeah. But, there are certain things, Alex Jones doesn't believe that the Sandy Hook shooting was real. Mm-hmm. He believed all those bodies and all those kids and all that stuff, they were actors, they were child actors, right. And it was a giant conspiracy on that. And he also believes that the chemicals being sprayed on crops are turning frogs gay. And, that whole situation, he doesn't believe in the whole 9/11 myth. Neither does Eddie Bravo. These guys are very smart in what they do. Yeah. But they also have ridiculous notions. It's the same thing, it feels like that they're believing in a tooth fairy in a type of way. Like, someone hasn't really let them know, hey, your stuff's bullshit. Sometimes they come to the conclusion themselves, but it's the same thing if I'm sitting here trying to convince you God is real. I'm not a religious person. You could try and convince me God is real. I can't wrap my head around it. Sure. If there's a higher power out there, that's cool. But what's to say God is a man with a white beard sitting on a throne, mm-hmm. that controls everything, and he's living in what this stereotypical God is? Or is he a guy wearing VR goggles jacking off the porn on Mars? That's my God, maybe. People have their own things. It inspires my favorite all-time movie and all-time religion that I would follow if I'm going to follow one. The Big Lebowski, Dudism. Yep. That is my all-time favorite movie. It inspired me to bowl. I mean, I went hard bowling on that when that movie came out, because it was just that was the point of the movie. It felt like propaganda towards bowling in a way. Yeah, it really was. And it's the same thing when you see a movie like Lone Survivor, or you see something like American Sniper, where it says based on a true story and you get this insane action. There are some movies, just like some comedy performances, some music that comes out that impacts a person's life, and you feel like you get stuck in that vibe. Everything you do for the next couple of weeks is focused on that. Lone Survivor, as soon as I left that movie theater, I wanted to freaking join the military. I wanted to sign up and do all that crazy mm-hmm. shit and, have that badass life and stuff. But it's that only lasted a week or so after the movie. Yeah. And it's the same thing when if you ever saw Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. Sure. That movie will fuck you up on space for the rest of your, basically entire thought process of how the world works. It got me inspired to watch all episodes of Cosmos, all those with Neil deGrasse Tyson, even though I was barely understanding it. But it was like, to think that there might be a planet out there that's exactly like this one, where there's there's me sitting in your situation right now, and you're sitting in mine, and you know, like talking right now, and then like having 3 heads or something like that. You know, it's ridiculous to even think that that might be out there. Who's to stop that? I came down to the conclusion. I don't remember if this podcast has been released yet, because I do try and record them out, so I always have some content for people.
Sure.
But imagine if the universe is inside the brain of another being, and that's God, and then inside that is another universe. It's the same thing if you ever seen Jimmy Neutron.
Oh yeah.
Where all those neurons that are firing, like when he goes inside his brain, think, and like you see all like the whole inside of the brain. Imagine if that is the galaxy, and it's inside a creature's head, inside another thing, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Much like if you look at the Milky Way and it's Men in Black, like the ending scene of it. Where it looks at the universe, the Milky Way, then our galaxy, and then it looks at the whole solar system, then it looks at the 4 systems that we know about, then it goes farther out, and it's inside of a freaking marble, and then there's a bunch of them getting rolled into each other, and there's a bunch of aliens playing with marbles on a planet, and like, as it get bigger from there, we know about subatomic stuff. What's deeper than that? What's deeper than that? What's deeper? You know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's a movie, it's a superhero movie, but there's a subatomic universe. There is a paradigm deeper than that. Joe Rogan has a podcast I still have to listen to about where he interviews this guy about interdimensional space travel, and then this type of stuff where it goes down to the subatomics and this stuff that I can't even wrap my freaking head around. We're all worried about Elon Musk and like what the hell we're gonna have for dinner that night. You're not even noticing that, like, shit. Like, you know, it blows my freaking mind on how much we have not even discovered. And we talk about how space is so untraveled and unconsumed. What about our minds? I'm fascinated with the world of psychology. I like hearing people's thoughts about it. I like knowing all these abnormal behaviors and all the types of theories that come out that are constantly changing, and we're constantly finding new evidence. You know, the sugar industry, everyone thinks the sugar is like bad, or saturated fat is bad. You know, it was actually a lie by the sugar industry. It was created saying, you know, eating fat is going to make you fat. It was like that whole thing, like, oh, well, fat's fat, so obviously if I eat it, I'm going to get fat. No, it was a lie by the sugar industry, because people were looking at sugar as the enemy, and all the companies that, you know, made sugar cereals, all those types of things, were processing that as the bad propaganda. It's really who had the most money in a way to kind of support the cause and be able to commercialize and advertise the badness of the product. You know, cornflakes, you know why that was invented?
No clue.
To stop masturbation.
What?
They said that the thing was so bland and untasteful that it would stop masturbation.
I should probably start eating more.
Yeah, I eat cornflakes every day, and let me tell you, it doesn't do anything like you would think. It's by some guy, Kellogg or something, whoever invented something. It was to stop masturbation or something, and that guy died of some type of sex thing too. So it was like, yeah, obviously you didn't try your own product in a way.
So what are Frosted Flakes for then?
For athletes.
All right.
For athletes and stoners. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're having a bowl of Frosted Flakes and you don't have somewhere to go, you're probably influenced by Michael Phelps or some type of drug in a way.
That's true.
Can you believe they gave him all that shit for eating Frosted Flakes and smoking marijuana? Like,
he was just trying to live his best life.
Right? That man is a tremendous athlete. Have you heard what he has for breakfast? 6 egg McMuffins from McDonald's, a 12 egg omelet, and then like that's his snack, and then he does his swimming, and then he comes back and has like a bunch of bacon and shit like that. I'm like, and how do you stay so healthy, bro? Like, you are an Olympic athlete in a way.
It's the marijuana. It's gotta be.
Yeah. Keeping them motivated, dude. Surprisingly, taking the opposite effect. Have you ever, I'm not saying you haven't tried pot before, but you ever experienced into like the acid or anything like that?
You know, I haven't.
Because a lot of comedians, like Bert, won't try any types of drugs of that course, like DMT or peyote, because he's afraid of it affecting his brain in a way where he doesn't come back and he's not able to perform anymore. But the man's been roofied multiple times.
Sure.
You know, he's partied, he's drank a whole bunch of beer. He's known as an alcoholic to some people, but you can tell, like, when he did the Sober October, he went a whole month without drinking. And it was like, yeah, obviously he just doesn't know when to control himself in a way. But it's like, do you ever want to experience something like that, like a spiritual kind of journey type in a thing? Because a lot of comedians kind of stick by that, and they say that's where their comedy gets influenced. They have a mushroom trip or see something funny, and that's what inspires TV shows like the one Big Mouth with Nick Kroll.
Right.
That was inspired by, Nick Kroll's funniness, but also the fact that he took a DMT trip and like a bunch of all this like acid type trips when he went to Burning Man and experienced just his best vision in a way is what he wanted to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll let them do it. I've never been into it, man. Like, I never tried it, so I can't say I'm not into it, but I never had the want to do it. I already got high blood pressure and anxiety. I don't need to get, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I don't think it's for me.
I'm in that way, too, with when it comes to anxiety. And a lot of people don't even know that you can actually overdose on marijuana. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. I've heard.
It's called the green out effect.
Yes.
I've experienced that multiple times. You're not going to die or anything, but you freak yourself out. And you will get sick to your stomach. You'll get nausea. You get diarrhea. You get whatever symptoms come through your anxiety in a way. And a lot of there's simple cures for it, obviously. You want to take a shower, drink milk, bring your high down, eat food, it brings it down.
Right.
You can't do that with edibles. Sadly, if you try and sleep, like if you sleep after you smoke, it goes away. You sleep after you've eaten an edible and you're too high and you sleep, you're going to wake up still high because the whole effect of getting high from it is a completely different thing. I've had too many bad experiences with alcohol and too many bad experiences with marijuana. I wouldn't say too many, but really major ones that, like, holy shit, you did that. Like, you didn't portion yourself at all. Like, you did all, either one time you did, like I killed 3 bottles of Jaeger one time, and the full bottles, and like nobody believed me that I could do it, and I wasn't drunk. And the fact is just my body handles hard alcohol in a different way. Sure. My body handles things in different ways. Everyone's body's different. Genetics, like same thing when you talk about diet fads and stuff. And it's like that stuff it was never my kick. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got their own addiction in a way, whether it's humor, whether it's something that we all take to the extremes on something. That's just not me. I do find that, like, I can't work well off of, being high or being stoned. I do get, like, shows a lot better, cartoons. I do find inner meanings and, like...
Yeah.
But I think pot, the only thing it really has done for me was, when I did smoke, was more of a revelation into things I needed to probably be focusing on. So... When it comes to, like, I don't reject anybody's notion of doing any type of drug like that. And I'm going to hop off the drug subject here in a second, so don't worry about that. But it's like, it's cool because, like, that probably inspired a show like Family Guy. Like, and a show like, Seth Green, Robot Chicken. You can't tell me, if you've ever seen an episode of Robot Chicken, you're watching that dude's got to be either baked off his ass or just drunk or something, because the randomness that comes out of that is ridiculous. And it's so funny too, especially at the time they play it, which is important. Like, a lot of shows, I believe, like, are really only do well when it's played at a certain time of the
absolutely.
the night. Absolutely. Like, you're watching Family Guy, it's not, I mean, it's still funny to watch, but, like, Family Guy is only relevant for this time period. What's growing up now? What's popular now? It's because it brings inflections on the Ben Stiller and all this type of stuff. But you watch Whose Line Is It Anyway, and it's more like my parents' age, and a kid like me is not going to get a whole lot of the jokes, just because, like, it's not relevant, because the improv was for that time. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
They're bringing up actors. I have to actually look up who it is, and the next thing you know, I'm like, oh shit. Greg Proup's a lot. Famous comedian too. Smart man, very smart man. Has his own podcast and wrote his own book called Smartest Man in the World, and listening to him, like, he taught me about Christopher Columbus, how he was a fucking asshole. Things school doesn't teach you.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, like, when we talk about how America comes together in a way where, we're the bold U.S. because we can handle such dramatic changes in, like, history, like where 9/11 happens and a giant thing happens, like a shooting or something, and we all come together. But we hide a lot of shit.
For sure.
Like, it's crazy to see just the amount of stuff or hidden information that isn't taught to children, that is, like, like I was saying, when people believe in conspiracy theories, that's what it is too. It's like we're living in a conspiracy in a way, and it's like certain things get shed into light, and that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was talking about this at the radio station today, just conspiracy theories in general, dude. It's crazy.
It's crazy to listen how deep a rabbit hole can go.
Uh-huh.
And how people can take that. Like, Santa Claus is obviously a good, if you're going to think of that as a conspiracy theory. That's a good, we obviously know he's not real. But there's that news reporter that came out recently, I don't know if you heard that, when she was in an interview, she was talking to the kids. Someone was like, it was a black Santa Claus that got arrested. And then the woman was like, guys, don't worry, Santa Claus isn't really arrested. He's in the North Pole, and Santa Claus is white. It's like,
yo, you can't say that.
Did you just say Santa Claus is white? Like, what? And, like, everyone, like, gave her so much shit for it. And it was, like, the same thing with that one reporter that came out saying that she was black or whatever, and it's against her black pride or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it finds out she's, like, 1/4% black.
I'm a big fan of the Black Santa Claus, to be honest, though.
Like, holy shit.
That's funny.
Dude, I'd let my kids sit on Santa Claus. I would change that. I wouldn't let my kids sit on any impersonator of Santa Claus's lap. Mm. I understand the whole aspect of, like, it's Santa. You want to take a picture with Santa? No. That guy's sick.
Yeah.
That guy's going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
He's going to bump his knee up and down, whether it's intentional or not intentional. I don't want my kid riding some grown man's lap unless I know the person
right
very, very well. I don't know.
And then you want to question them. It's
crazy because people, like I said, when people are awesome in a way, people are in some weird shit.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Some of that's good and some of that's bad. Some good weird, some of it's the bad weird. But shit, man, with too much of the news publicized, like, a lot of people into some weird shit.
Yeah, you're right. There's some weird shit.
Is there anything that might be considered for you would be weird to other people?
That I'm into? I don't know.
Whether it's like a certain, like, thing you do every day. I mean, best thing I can think of is I hate fucking sleeping with my socks on.
Yeah, for sure. I would never.
I don't know what it is. It could be freezing cold, but if my socks are on and that blanket touches,
I'll be wide awake.
Yeah,
that doesn't work
on that one.
Nope.
And sometimes I like to turn the pillow over where it's cold.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I don't know. I think everything I do is weird to somebody in some way.
Just how they really think of it.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about music and stuff like this, the creative aspect, do you think of any music as shitty, or do you think of it all as, like, beautiful? Because it's all someone's work of art. I like to think of it that way.
100%. I mean, even if I don't like it, they created it. I think that's awesome.
Now, I've only went to one Steve Aoki concert, but I know you met him too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a giant influence from my friend. It's crazy to think that someone can influence you in a way to look up a certain music. I was attracted to the song Boneless, whatever he calls it.
Uh-huh.
That whole remix. That was the only one song I really liked out of his. But like, it made me think of, like, all these other artists, like, that use, like, reggae, like Skrillex and Damian Marley. That one song that inspired, it gets you into, like, a kind of a vibe. But it's crazy to see, like, if you've never experienced a live performance, I really recommend going out and experiencing a live performance of any type of genre.
Absolutely.
I've actually, in my music appreciation class, we watched an orchestra video, and I saw that, and I would like to go dive into that world a little bit. I enjoy music a lot more once I kind of realized that everyone, like, once I started podcasting and once I started kind of realizing everybody has a story and everybody's got something that they can tell and give information, whether it's good information or whether it's bad information, everyone's got something somebody can get out of it, you know what I mean? And it's cool to hear, and I'm trying to get everybody's voice out there in a way, not just even if they're super, super popular, but I just like hearing the conversations and influencing myself in a way, whether you might say something that might bring me to a conclusion on something, or it's crazy to see that. And, like, when we look at someone that, like, an artist or something that creates something, just because that's not meant for, your ears, it doesn't mean it's not good, it doesn't mean it's not bad. Da Vinci had the best reference or motto, I guess you would say. Art is never finished, it's only abandoned. Mm-hmm. That is true.
Very true.
Everything can be improved. Everything can constantly. But when do you draw the line at what is beautiful? Joe Rogan says we're all like sandcastles in a way. We spent all this time building up something beautiful and knowing that it's going to break down and turn into basically what it was at the start. In the long run, in the end, it's a good symbolism for death, but it's also a good symbolism for how you should look at life. You should be able to go out and pursue anything that you want to really pursue in the world. Whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's, fucking being the best at playing the Star Spangled Banner on a piano with your fucking toes. Like,
Sure.
It's crazy to think. And that's when, when you look at creativity, and you really just got to enjoy all aspects of it, the beauty of it, whether it's someone that sells a $5 million painting or $25 million painting that just looks like someone threw an apple against a wall, like something that stupid. Someone's still gonna find passion in that, whether they're a snob or not. Like, you gotta kind of admire that in a way. If we really take a step back, like you see a lot of people looking at an art photo and kind of admiring it in a way.
Yeah.
If you do that on life in general, you're gonna have a happier time in this world. It's not gonna be shit, and it's hard to really kind of say that and do it at the same time, but it's something I try and incorporate a little bit more in my life, like whether it's going to 7-Eleven and getting that 2 a.m. Slurpee that drives us to get us through the night, just that little taste of Mountain Dew, or eating that fucking taquito that's been sitting on that rack, and the guy's like, fuck it, you can just have them all if you're gonna buy this one. It's like, really? It's like, yeah, I don't feel like making any more. Nobody's coming in here at 3 o'clock in the morning getting taquitos, so good luck with your night. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. And you're sitting out on the curb like, this is the best buffalo chicken tender taquito I've ever had.
So I definitely had one before I came here, by the way.
Really? A 7-Eleven one?
Oh, I had a taquito on the way here.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man, that was the dream. Popping something in the microwave like that, or going to 7-Eleven and just grabbing one off the rack.
It's definitely not keto, but damn, was it good.
Dude, there's those times, like, what's the one thing you want more when you're drunk or stoned off your ass? You either want Taco Bell or something like that. I interviewed a cop, my buddy who's a deputy sheriff. He was talking about, hey, this is the one place we sit at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because what other fucking places open? What do you want at 3 o'clock in the morning after you just drank so much and you're like, I need something in me?
Quick.
You need Taco Bell. You need something greasy, something disgusting where you're going to hate yourself after you eat it, but it's going to be so damn good every single bite down into the middle.
It is.
Taco Bell's a good freaking essential thing to life. That's a good way to wrap up how life is. It's like, it's this shitty thing, but it's so
It's like
good in different
hard on
aspects.
the outside. When you get to the middle, it's just good.
That's a good way to put it. It's better than mine.
Dude, life's good though. Life is good.
There are definitely good aspects of it. I think my realization, like when I see, like, you have those moments where you kind of, I have ADHD. I don't know if you could tell, but it's like there's certain aspects of it where it's like I need to take a minute and slow down. And a lot when I slow down or just slow my speech in general, take a deep breath. Take that minute to just go. I forgot his name, but it's like I forgot what his name is. He climbed Mount Everest shirtless. He's known as the Iceman. He climbed Mount Everest in shorts and like just, in ridiculous conditions where he was trying to subject his body to extreme cold. And like, he did it. And he talks about it. Like, he's known as the Iceman. That's his nickname. Not Chuck Liddell style, but Iceman. He's known like that. And he came up with this... he's a foreign guy from Switzerland or whatever, so he's talking about, like... he invented a technique where it's breathing. And he's like, inhale, exhale. And like, do it for like, you have to hold it for a certain amount of time. Do that 10 times and you'll come to like a clarity moment. And he did it. And like on Joe Rogan's podcast, and like it was something where I had to pause and like, does that actually fucking work? It does at times. There aren't going to be times where you're randomly sitting pissed off like, and like do what he did. But it's like, to think that there's these types of things that people discover. It's the same thing when we talk about what works for me might not work for you. It's like, if you can do those types of things, it makes you think about life in a way. It makes you take clarity in general. Brings you to a clariscent view on the world in a way. I don't know. It's like clarity and clear.
Yeah, clarity and clear.
Clear up the sunshine.
That's it. Sunshine. We didn't. So we started talking about jellyfish. I'm totally backtracking now.
The festival?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the whole point of the podcast. We're just going off on whatever the hell my brain
Yeah,
goes
we
off
totally just went off. I totally forgot about that.
First we were talking about Thailand, and we talked about then you had a transcendental moment on the thing.
Dude, yeah.
And then that shot off. That was like 30 minutes ago, I'm pretty sure. But we got to do a lot of other shit about Taco Bell. But it's like, Yeah, all right. So Jellyfish. What? Explain that whole festival thing
Dude,
to me,
it's
'cause I
gonna
don't
be
even understand
nuts. It's gonna be a good time, man. So, B Rad, I don't know if you know B. You know B Rad.
Mhm.
Brad Hoffman. Him. He's got two partners. Salty Salt from Endless Summer Surf Shop, and Brian Gilpin, who has toured. He does sound. He owns Illusion Sound. He's toured with like Foo Fighters and all these big names. He runs the sound for him, and they got together and they're putting on this festival this summer in Ocean City, and it's going to be like the revamp of Dude Tour. Remember Dude Tour?
Oh hell yeah!
It's going to be
I never
similar
went,
to that.
and it's crazy because how addicted to Mountain Dew I am.
Yeah, right. It was cool. It was fun, but there was a whole contract issue or whatnot with Pepsi and Coca-Cola in the town of Ocean City. So anyway, they just moved on. They were doing different things anyway. They wanted to go to different towns and cities. But anyways, there's something lacking in Ocean City, and the music scene is great. There's so many local acts. I mean, your brother's band for one of them, and Swell Fellows. The list goes on, and there's no opportunity.
It's an entertainer town.
Right. There's no opportunity for, I can't say all of them, but a good group of them to get together and play for everybody.
Have a voice that can be heard by
Exactly.
everyone.
So they had gotten together, and it wasn't really necessarily meant to be just like local bands. The whole thing was going to be like Dude Tour. They're going to have the skate park out there with BMX bikers doing flips, in the sand with the ramps, surf competitions. There's going to be like a fitness zone where it's like a American Ninja Warrior.
Oh shit! I'm going.
You have to.
I wanted to send it a tape, but I was too young at the time to do it.
There's going to be like 2 or 3 different types. So like little Johnny can get on one side where it's easy for little kids. There's like intermediate, and then the pro athletes can go on one side.
Give me that hard shit.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And
I want to be America's next Ninja
Dude,
Warrior. Fuck American Idol.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's cool that they're giving people a chance to, get made fun of on television and shit, but it's like, no.
They're owning them, though. They're
Ninja Warriors.
They're not living their own life. They're getting owned by the TV show.
I'm a level with your dog. I'm a level with your dog.
Yeah.
Randy fucking
Yeah.
Jackson.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, dog, I'm out.
Yeah, dog. I don't know. It's not
no
for me.
It's a no for me, dog.
No for me.
But
That's a perfect impression. Holy shit. Can you do a Trump?
No, I can't do Trump. I can't do
It's
Trump.
going to be terrific. That sounds like a gay guy.
It's gonna be huge.
It's going to be huge.
It is gonna be huge, though, dude. And we're bringing in. It's gonna be 3 days long. So it's June 21st to the 23rd. I'm doing like a little commercial here. I'm sorry, if that's all right.
No worries, dude.
So yeah, Jellyfish Music Festival.
It's funny because I try to get my mom to get me on to the radio station to do your guys' commercials and as different people. I do impersonations in a way.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if I can do it now because I'm like kind of on the spot, but Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
You go, your father walked around 3 years with his watch up his ass. Didn't know too much about anything different in the world. Just kind of came down to it. I like dogs. Like it's.
That's good. I like that. I like that.
My mom's like, damn. He's like, she laughs at it for like the first couple of minutes, and then eventually I get stuck in the notion where I start doing it, and I don't realize I'm doing it. I end up narrating my whole life, and I have to stop myself in general. Like sometimes I'll open up the fridge and be like, oh my, we're out of milk is tragic news for the lactose intolerant. Like shit that. Like that. My mom's like, all right, you gotta stop. Like seriously, it's not funny anymore. And I'm like, I can't. Like you get stuck into that notion, but.
She can't say that because she walks around the radio station talking with her fake Russian accent. And
dude,
it's not even Russian. I don't know what it is.
Oh, dude, it brings me down. In Tyler's interview, I talked to him about the fake radio voice.
Uh-huh.
I hear that so well. Like a lot of people don't realize, like that's how he talks. No, there's a certain thing where I'm talking how I am right now, and then I'm like, you're listening to 93.5 The Beach, and or 98.1 Ocean 98. Like my mom fucking does it too. Like
I know.
She acts like I don't know. I'm like no, like. you're now listening to Marla on the radio.
Oh yeah.
You know, not to call her out. Everyone does it. My dad does it.
Yeah.
And everyone
we all
thinks
do.
like,
Yeah. We
yeah.
all do.
I mean, there's certain people like when you film a podcast is different from filming a radio thing. Mostly because radio, you're only live for that 1 minute, or you're doing that recording for that minute. But you're doing a podcast. You know how hard it is to keep up with. You're listening to the best of the Out of the Blank podcast, and then the next thing you know, I'm keeping that up for 3 hours. Ain't no way.
Nah.
So like, before I even made this at any episodes, before I even had the idea, I was like, how do I want to talk? Do I want to disguise my voice in a way? I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna be me, man. I'm gonna make it as real as possible. It's a lot of reason why I don't edit it out. I want, if you cough, if you do anything like that, if you say shit, fuck, you know, I don't want to edit that out. Yeah, some people are gonna be like, man, you use a lot of curse words. It's like, I'm just talking. I'm not censoring myself for anybody. I'm not censoring myself for anything. I don't want to edit out anything. You know, obviously, if you say something that you want me to edit out, I will be 100%, you know, clear on editing it out. But at the same time, I like the conversation to be real.
Yeah.
And the first couple ones I did, I edited. Mostly to cut down all the okays, but you know, that type of stuff. But it's like, it sucks. Like, it's a process that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And whether you're like...
I do it on a daily basis. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like you get to sit there and go, click, click, cut, click, cut, click, cut. All right, you know, split this a little bit, you know, like trim it. It's like constantly trying to find that 0.1 second where that the word ends so you don't hear the or the voice crack afterwards. It's like, shit, it's like that gets annoying. It's much better when people are
it's
like...
It's not natural.
I'm uploading it live because you're going to get the real thing. It's like, I wish I could upload these live, but I can't at the moment. I'm just having them recorded and sent out, which I'll probably end up putting this one up tonight as like a special edition or something, or I might put it up, you know, in a couple days or something. I did have a couple people that were lined up in front of you that had been waiting for a while, but I'm like, this one's like more like a special edition. I'll post 1-2 days in a row. I literally am off work this whole week, so it's like I'm gonna just do them every single day that I'm off. Basically, I'm thinking about cutting class tomorrow. Hopefully, my teacher's not listening, but it's like I don't feel like going, mostly because I have people that are down from the military at this time, like friends that I graduated with that like I haven't seen, that have been on these trips and adventures in their life that I haven't had the chance to. You know, like, see them in a long time. I'm like, I want to hear your story, man. Tell me about what it was like to go. You know, they're telling me they're about to be freaking sent overseas to a whole nother region to go fight in this thing, or go to this place where it's like high priority, like combat and shit. It's like, shit, I want to get that before you go over there, you know. I just had this one girl I'm trying to podcast with. She's not going to be back until March. She's in Kenya helping out the children now. It's like,
that's awesome.
I want to get that on there, like, you know. I want to hear it all. I want to be able to get that, and I'm not saying, you know, ditch school and ditch your, you know, some stuff that's considered a priority, but, you know, shit, I'll go to the doctors and get a doctor's note for that day I missed. Like, I like doing this podcasting thing. I feel like this is something I can chase down in a way. I feel like I have a passion for it, whether it's good or not. I want to chase down and see how far I can get it to go. And I always said after the first 100 episodes I was gonna do audio, or not audio, video, and then like kind of dive deeper down into the realm. Now it's just like, how many people are interested in doing it? And as it's becoming a little bit more popular, like people are sharing it on Facebook and sharing it on, you know, spreading the word. Everyone's like, why don't you spread it yourself? It's like, I do, but I don't go as far as like spending money in advertisements doing that, but like a lot of people do, because I want it to also spread by word of mouth. I want you to be able to say, dude, I had a great fucking time. I had fun, and be able to tell someone that you work with, whether it's Stevie J. I'll get Stevie J on my podcast.
Yeah, he'd love it.
I'd like to interview JJ too. You know, I'd like to interview whoever really has the time that wants to come down and do it. Like, if you think Stevie J would love to be on this podcast, let him know. Tell him, you know, shoot me a message on Facebook, add me on Facebook. I saw him do the Hot Wings challenge.
Oh, dude,
he looked like he was in death's door. What was that? The Ghost Peppers?
Dude, it was the Reaper challenge at Pickles, downtown Ocean
Carolina
City.
Reaper.
It was I don't know. It was everything.
Have you seen the show Hot Ones?
Yes.
You know The Last Dab?
Yes.
I have that bottle of sauce in my cabinet.
Do you?
It's not hot.
It's not.
I killed the whole bottle in 2 days. I literally was dumping it on everything, and I watched Gordon Ramsay drink a bottle of Pepto-Bismol before he had it, and then he couldn't. Yeah, he drank a whole bottle of Pepto-Bismol in a cup on the show. Like
Ugh.
he drank it, chugged it,
Ugh.
and then he started doing the hot wings and stuff. And it was like to watch Bill Burr and all these people cuss and freak out after just doing the second hottest one, then doing the hottest one. My buddy just ordered. It's called The Last Dab 2. Their new season that came out on Hot Ones. It's supposed to be 10 times hotter than The Last Dab that I had. It's not hot to me. I've eaten Carolina Reapers. I've eaten all that stuff raw. I ate a ghost pepper, was probably the hottest thing I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yeah.
I interviewed a woman from Guyana on my 4th episode of my podcast. She's an Indian woman. And she had this really hot sauce. Like, you're only going to want a spoonful. They're ghost peppers that are dried in the sun by my dad that makes them back in our home country. And he sends it over and puts it all into a powder himself. It's really, really hot. Only do a spoonful. I freaking was sitting there eating out of the damn jar. Like, she's like, you must be Indian in your blood or something. I'm like, spicy foods are just something I can get a part of. But, dude, I ate that ghost pepper, man. It was the raw ones you buy from Harris Teeter. And you live out that way, so you know. I go there to get 99-cent grapes. Which reminds me, today's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow the new ad comes out,
Yep,
dude.
everyone's there.
They better have 99-cent pineapple or something because they've been slacking hard. They did 99-cent grapes. I stocked up, spent like $20 and threw them all in my freezer.
Pretty good.
But when it comes to those ghost peppers, they have the racked ones, the ones you use for cooking, the spiced ones. Really dry, long ones. I ate one of those just to do it, like to try it with my buddy. I felt like I swallowed a burning coal, and it was slowly... I felt it work its way all the way through my stomach the whole night. For 8 hours after I ate that thing, I was in bed lying down. No milk, nothing was coming. I could literally feel it work its way from my throat, burn all the way through my whole digestive system. I felt it hit my stomach and sit in there, and when it was touching the lining of the stomach, I felt it burning what it was touching. And then when it was passing through my stomach, going down to like if it's going to come out in my shit or something, I felt it work its way through that. You don't know what it's like to feel like you have something burning on fire near your freaking lower part of your stomach. Like where it's getting close to coming out. And then when it gets down to where like near your I don't want to be like too profane, but anus in a way.
Yeah.
God damn.
Nah, I'm good with that, man. I don't know.
People talk about Taco Bell burning. No, that is pain, man.
I won't even eat a jalapeno, dude. I can't. No, heat's not for me. He tore up those Reaper wings last night.
I watched him. He was crying though. He looked like and then someone didn't tell him not to touch his face. He touched his face multiple times.
Yeah, no, he did.
His eyes were watering. Like
his nose was dripping down.
Yeah,
he was. But they said he was the best they've ever seen do it. I mean, they've had people go to the hospital after that.
What do you have to eat them in a certain amount of time?
You have 8 wings in 8 minutes.
I don't like the time challenges. I just like to be able to consume.
The funniest part was that so they're like $17, but if you finish it, you get it for free.
You get your shirt.
You get a shirt.
You get your picture on the wall.
He finishes it. The guy says, "Sorry, we only have a small." They gave him a small shirt, and he wears like a 2X. He's like, "Yo, what the hell?" But he's gonna order some new ones.
Damn.
I was like, "Damn, dude." But yeah, he killed it.
Where's this at?
Pickles downtown.
Dude, you gotta take me and Stevie there again.
Let's go. What time?
I'll do it.
Let's do it.
Fuck, man, I'll tear that shit up. I would love to try that.
Yeah, it's I like watching, but I'm not doing it.
It's like man versus food. I like watching it, you know, but when I think, like, in my mind, I think of food as calories, so I always try and watch my calories. But, like, when I see him eat, like, a 10-pound burger and drink a 5-pound shake, I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that. And I know I can, too, dude, man. Because, I mean, I've eaten a whole bag of Doritos. I used to eat bags of Doritos in a sitting. I used to eat all that stuff. Like, I used to be able to I can tear food up. I just don't get full if I keep eating. I just don't get full.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what scares me about, like, food in general. That's why I'm kind of strict on my diet and stuff. But it's like, when I see, like, a giant burger challenge or, like, a 10-pound steak challenge or something like that, I'm like, one day I'm just not going to eat anything all day and then just go kill it. Like, go kill that.
Apparently, like, you should eat, like, a big breakfast or something. Like, they had at Whiskers Pub over here in the Pines, they had they still have it. It's called the Beastie Burger Challenge. It's like an 8-pound monster. It's like ham, burgers, mac and cheese, like a whole head of lettuce, 3 tomatoes, some... You know, like,
see, it's got to be something where I'm like, I got to do like, it's got to be something I'm really interested in food-wise, too. It can't be like, I'm not a big red meat guy. If I eat even a small corner or like a tiny bit of a burger, my body hasn't had it in a long time.
Yeah.
And it starts running funky. I won't go to the bathroom for like 3 days.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
like, It's like the best example I could put is like if you put diesel in a Corvette or something,
Sure.
like a high powered sports car. I'm not saying I'm a high powered sports car, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a Ferrari. Bobby Lee always said I'm like I can't I can't I'm like a Ferrari. I'm quick, but I'm also like something that makes a sweater. He goes, I can quick and make you a fucking sweater. Like like that. It's that type of thing. It's just like it's hard to kind of direct yourself and incorporate other things that you haven't had in forever because you don't know how your body's going to react to it.
Yep.
And when it comes down to like eat food challenges, spicy stuff I can eat 6 wings in 6 minutes or 7 wings in 7 minutes, whatever the challenge was. It's really just being able to block out the pain in your mind in a way too. But like when you're eating something that's super, super spicy and like the first bite, you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then it starts to hit you. And then you take like an inhale or a whiff or you get something cold in you. Oh, dude, it murders, man. That pain just lingers. And then afterwards, and you're feeling that effect for the next couple hours afterwards. It's got to be. He's probably in pain for the rest of the night, I'm guessing.
No, dude, it was karaoke night, so after like an hour, he went and threw up like right away. And then after about an hour, it was clear out of his system. Didn't bother him one bit. He was up there doing karaoke. I was like, yo, are you alright? He said, yeah, dude, I'm fine.
Probably because he threw up.
Huh?
You ever tried the banana challenge?
Nah, I don't eat bananas.
Oh shit, that's right. Why the hell did I even bring that up?
That's alright.
There's a thing if you drink like I forgot if you drink a certain, it's like Mountain Dew and then you eat a banana or something. You eat a whole banana and then try and drink milk.
Oh.
Or something. The pressure creates in your stomach where your body can't. No, it's a 2 liter of Mountain Dew and then drink a banana or not drink a banana, eat a banana. I did it. It makes you throw up.
Shoot.
I did the challenge and completed it, but the pressure in your stomach, it's just there. You got to basically make yourself throw up.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be uncomfortable for the next couple hours while that thing digests. And if you ever did see the guy that does the challenges, like the snack challenges on thing, he ate a 5-pound bag of gummy bears. Whatever it was, and what happens is your body immediately like shits it out. Like if you look up, I think it's a 5-pound bag of gummy bears, or it's a pound gummy bears. No, it's 5 pounds. If you look it up on Amazon, they sell it. It's the sugar-free Haribo gummy bears.
Yeah.
Look up the reviews on Amazon if you want a quick laugh. It's everyone saying my asshole exploded like Mount St. Hela, because the sugar-free chemicals, they don't make them anymore.
You can't aspartame.
Yeah, but you can't buy these gummy bears anymore. They've been banned. So when you order them, it's like whatever's left from what the company did. But sugar-free Haribo gummy bears, they create a laxative effect. And this dude was like ate these gummy bears, and he was sitting there, and he was on the toilet, and all he hears like just lighten it up, and like he's in an extreme amount of pain. It's like I do get a fascination out of watching these people do food challenges and do stuff like that. Like because when you see Man versus Food, and there's certain things that I see him do, like where he ate 12 dozen oysters in a matter of like an hour, under an hour, or under 30 minutes or something. That's crazy. That's something I feel like I can do, but like, you don't understand like how big your eyes are for your actual stomach. You know what I mean? Sometimes people's eyes are a little bit, we want more than we can honestly handle. And that's a good way to take on life in general.
Yeah, it's not just food, it's everything. That's the truth.
Yeah, whether it's music, you can get too much of a good thing.
Yeah. Like jellyfish.
Jellyfish. Are we going back to that? Is this literally a commercial for jellyfish?
Just fucking.
Let's do it. Is it inspired by the animal?
No. Well, yeah, it is.
Is there a hidden meaning behind it?
Yeah, it actually is. Like, so jellyfish is kind of like, so the way B-Rad had kind of put it was like, the head of the jellyfish is like the main stage. It's like where everything's happening, the main area. And the tentacles are like the different things that are happening at the festival. So like, there's like I said, the fitness center and the little village, the shops and the little side stages, and it's like the tentacles that are hanging off. It's kind of.
That's a good way of
it's like the way
it's a good way of referencing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think my mind would have went. Is there a bunch of different artists performing at the music festival?
Yes. Like
different varieties, like rock, reggae, all that type of stuff. I like to think of if you're gonna think of it as the Jellyfish Festival. You look at a jellyfish, you don't know what the fuck it is, and especially when you see it on the beach, like washed up, you just start poking it with a stick and then crushing it and probably killing it in a way. But like when you look at it like floating around in a tank, it's this weird object that's really unknown. Like it moves in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't fully understand it. It looks a lot like our brains, like what we know our brains to look like, and it's like that's how you got to think of the music festival. You're getting this unknown thing, with like that might inspire you to do something, or it might make you think in a certain type of way. But it's beautiful because it's something you don't completely understand.
We'll get you some artists. You can interview them or something from.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know a couple. I can get you probably like right on the.
Can you give me the Rogue Citizens?
Dude, I can get you them.
Oh my god! Like I that's the singer. Like I've been trying to get him on my podcast for so long.
Their writer's crazy, dude. They come in for live licks and they want like green M&Ms and all this other bullshit.
You ever just piss them off and put Skittles in a bowl and be like, "Here's green M&Ms," and it's just green Skittles?
Yeah, they don't like that.
You want to torture somebody? Put a bowl of M&Ms and a bowl of Skittles together, and then have them eat.
Oh, that's happened to me.
That's fucking hell.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Just a chocolate
It's not
M&M.
cool.
Ah, god damn! That was a Skittle.
Yeah, it's not cool. Don't do it.
Yeah, sick, twisted people.
But yeah, there's some artists that I could definitely
It's a
get you.
thing ISIS does or something. Like who? Besides Swellfellows.
Ballyhoo? Talk to Ballyhoo?
Are you serious? You get me on there with Ballyhoo?
Sure.
What's his
I'm
name?
sure.
Howie is
Howie.
the singer? Yeah.
I'm sure he does his own podcast.
9 Mile Roots, I know they're coming down in the summertime to play gigs. I don't know if they're playing the Jellyfish Festival.
They're not playing Jellyfish as of right now, but yeah, they're down.
Because I talked to Matt, the singer, and he wants to do the podcast. He's into podcasting. I'm like,
cool.
can you get me the whole band? Like,
Yeah.
shit, I mean, I'll interview certain ones, obviously, but like if they want to do it as a band thing, I'll be more than happy to interview Ballyhoo as a band. Dude, if you can set that up for me, I would be like...
Yeah, like I don't know
Grateful.
their schedule, but if they're hanging around there during the day, it's possible. I mean, like you come hang out with us, and then if somebody's available,
Hell
or
yeah.
whatever. King Shasha, I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No.
So he used to be in this huge band from back in the '80s called the English Beat.
I do know the English Beat.
They have a couple songs that were on like Tony Hawk back in the day. They're like pop punk ska.
Pro Skater, bro.
Yeah. So he wasn't in the band back then. He was like in the last couple of years. But he kind of went off and started doing his own thing, and has this crazy like stage presence, just hype man. He's doing like it's reggae, and he's gonna be down, and he's super stoked. He wants to be on anything he can. So I know for a fact he'd do something with you for sure.
Dude, if you could set any of this stuff up, let me know. I will take a week off work if I have to. And how long does the festival last?
It's 21st to the 23rd, so we got 3 days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, I mean, if they can spare an hour and a half or an hour, I would love to talk to him and just shoot the shit.
Yeah, King Shasha would be cool, and I mean, yeah, he would be fun. In fact, I mean, after this, I'll video chat him if you want. He'll probably be like, yeah, man, I'm down.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
He's cool, really cool guy. But yeah, dude, so it's gonna be a good time. I think we might have Bucky Lassett come down too.
Damn.
So I think we're gonna work on some cool stuff.
Any merch or anything I can snag for?
Yeah,
the
I
festival?
don't have anything yet.
What if you do? Hook it up. Hook up a poster or something.
Yeah, I'll print out a poster for you.
Right on. I eventually want to have I do want to have you on again. Like eventually down the road, once the more episodes come out of other people, and like maybe like episode 100, we'll have a Magellan podcast again.
Sure.
But I eventually want to have like a notebook or like something that they can write down, like Joe Rogan did at one point, where Tom Segura just do dicks all over the paper and like, stuff like that. Stuff that leaves an image back of you. You guys do the same thing at Secrets, where you guys sign a guitar with the live performances and have them on there. And I also want to get like pictures taken and stuff like that, where we can put on social media and kind of spread that whatever, how we thought, whether you thought the podcast went well or you thought it was a complete dick. Let people know. I don't care. Shit.
We'll take a picture after this.
Oh,
put it up.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you taking your time out of the day to go on the podcast. And sorry with all the ranting that went on. We did talk about some shit, but we clarified your obvious commercial reference here with the Jellyfish Festival. And it sounds like it's going to be a fun experience for everyone local down here, and it sounds like it's a big prosperous situation for the bands too that are coming up and not really known to a lot of people.
I didn't mention so I finished up with that. Friday we got the Fresh Friday. It's going to have local bands like Your Brother's Band, Rogue Citizens, Swell Fellas, Ballyhoo, Badfish, Sublime tribute band.
Oh shit, dude! Yeah. You actually know how Sublime found the band Slightly Stupid? Did you know that? Mm-hmm. They're part of Stupid Records, but you know how they were founded?
I don't know.
Back in high school, the two guys, Kyle and Miles, where Bradley Noel went to their school and saw them perform, and the next thing you know, he signed them onto their record label called Stupid Records. Or, no, it was something else. It was something with Sublime Records. But that started them, And then those guys are wrestling coaches
I didn't know that.
at a local high school, not down here, but in their
Right.
area.
That's cool.
It's crazy to think that your wrestler coaches
that
are
is really funny.
2 fucking stoners.
Yeah. Yeah, we get some fresh fry with Badfish. Be stoked to have them come down, put on a good show with Ballyhoo. Saturday is going to be classic rock, some of your mom's favorite bands from back in the day. Styx headlining, which is pretty big. Having them come down.
We're going to your mom shit now. Okay, well, your mama. No. No.
And Sunday's going to be music with a message. 2 of the 5 biggest Christian bands on the scene right now are coming down. Play on the beach. So it's going to be a cool thing, fun for everybody. The whole family.
For the kids.
Yep.
I do it for the kids.
Yep.
Much like I do this podcast. For the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids.
That's it.
For the little niños.
Yeah.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Ending it on that one. Thanks again, Magellan, for being on the podcast.
Thanks for inviting me, man.
Get you back on soon.